home. Some would describe it as a place that you can always return to, a place free of worries, a space that feels safe, somewhere you can forget your burdens, even if only just for a moment. Others will define home as a feeling that's present in someone who provides you with warmth and tenderness, where you are free to drop all of your masks and lay bare all of your emotions. At the very least, that is what a home is supposed to be. But reality isn't always that kind, because not everyone has a home to return to. Okari Suihesen, or also known as Home at the Horizon, is one of the manga that got recommended by Tatsuki Fujimoto, famously known for his many unconventional works. Yet, this manga recommendation of his is a stark contrast from what you could expect from him, since Home at the Horizon has a more grounded set of premises. The story takes place in an old bathhouse that is located near the seashore. A single family has been taking care of the old bathhouse, where they also form a community and kept the business running. The family consists of a grandfather and his supposedly only grandson, until a city boy turned up at the bathhouse demanding to meet a certain man whom he claims to be his father. The problem is that the grandson also claims that man as his father, and he refused to let the city boy meet that certain man. Well, because he's dead. It's been a while since I've read a manga with a strong yet delicate first chapter. It managed to set my expectations for the story onwards by showing us how the bathhouse would play a role for the characters and the family's reaction to the city boy's sudden appearance, aka Reo, the illegitimate son, unwanted according to societal norms, searching for his last string of help and closure despite never even receiving one. The same could be said for Ryoma. He might have grown up with more emotional presence from the adults around him, but what is even the proper reaction upon learning about your late father, quote-unquote, secret, shattering your belief about him this entire time? Should you directly confront your father about it? Ask him once, he won't respond. Ask him twice, he's not getting nice, because a dead man tells no tales, as they say. Not even a living man would be willing to tell their tale as well. So between screams of frustration that breeze through the calm sea waves, these polar half-siblings are forced to deal with the damage of never receiving a direct closure. Every action always leads to consequences no matter what. A wound that can feel bottomless, and vice versa, an act of kindness that stays through a lifetime. One side of that is deeply rooted in neglect and emotional absence. Whatever walls these teenagers put up are a result of their surrounding environment. More often than not, it's due to the closest adult that they have. Reo grew up in a house where he didn't have someone to say I'm home to. Meatballs from the konbini became a staple for his dinner, as he was often left alone by his mother, the only adult figure that he had. Fatherless since birth, parental love is a term that he is not familiar with. Acceptance was the only means he had to stay sane, yet it also molds him as a teenager who doesn't know how to receive kindness. Doubt and denial were the first responses for every open arms, questioning whether he deserves this kind of treatment when in reality, this is just how things are supposed to be. Right? Contrary to his social butterfly half-brother, you could say Ryoma is quite unique? I thought he was your typical loner main protagonist who sits by the window, minding his own business instead of mingling with the others like Reo. Is he a loner? Or is he just some weirdo? Ah, he's that kind of guy. The kind of person who would go to such lengths to do things by himself, which is not detrimental in hindsight, but there are times when solitude is used as a reaction of distrust. That kind of guy, but also the kind of guy who would shut himself up when things go down, shouldering a burden that was too much for him to handle, to the point where Reo had to stand up for him and got hurt in the process. Suddenly, the things that he did to protect his loved ones had backfired on him, forcing him to realize that sometimes an act of independence does not equal with strength. It's only what's left when the trust is gone. While I was getting invested in the unfolding drama, some of the moments that I enjoyed were the ones where things are more laid bed. The manga managed to describe the fuzzy feeling of being at a bathhouse, as simple as drowning in a warm bath while gazing at the vast sea through the window, waiting for the pouring rain to end in the guest room, or simply just to enjoy each other's company. The bathhouse was coincidentally made as a healing space for these teenagers. There's a sense of peace that can only be found in here, where they were able to take refuge from the constant battle that the world offers. A place where you belong is a phrase that perfectly sums up Okaeri Suiheisen's premises. Even though the bathhouse might not be able to solve the core of the struggles, it managed to serve its function as the first environment for the characters to heal, one that feels calm and safe instead of bleak and suffocating. A sense of belonging that came not only from the place, but also from the person involved. When the adults in Okaeri Suiheisen were associated with abandonment and neglect, basically responsible for the root cause of the teenager's trauma, Katsuomi is a breath of fresh air compared to them. He's been established as the head of the bathhouse from the first chapter, but above all of that, his actions demonstrated what it truly means to be an adult figure. Simple gestures like including the boys whenever a decision has to be made, giving them options with reassurance in mind, and handing out tough love whenever necessary. His presence redefined what it truly means to have someone that they can depend on, with the hope that they will be able to process and rewire their views on their definition of home. One that should feel safe and warm, where there are no barriers to emotions and affections are unconditional.